Did you know that when making our beautiful children's book available to be pre-ordered, that this might actually end up hurting our book in the long run? So when deciding whether or not to set our book up for pre-orders, we will want to make sure we consider both the advantages as well as the disadvantages of this marketing strategy. Hi there, I'm Eevi, an award-winning children's author and ghostwriter over on eevijones.com and the creator of Children's Book University. I create videos specifically for children's authors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my weekly videos. In this video, I'm going to share with you what pre-orders are, the two main myths that make people believe that pre-orders may be a great marketing strategy, actual advantages of pre-orders, the disadvantages of pre-orders, and finally, my recommendations when it comes to pre-orders. In the end, I will also go ahead and show you where and how to set up your pre-orders if you should decide to go this route, including a couple of rules regarding pre-orders, because there are some rules we will want to follow and pay attention to. So let's jump right in by looking at what pre-orders actually are. KDP, which is the print-on-demand platform I like to recommend to my clients and students, allows us to set up pre-orders for our ebooks, meaning people can order our book before it is being published on Amazon. Setting up such a pre-order option allows others to order our ebook as early as 1 year before its actual release date, and the ebook will then automatically be delivered on our predetermined release date. Now, a really important side note to bring up right away is that as of the making of this video, KDP does not currently offer a pre-order option for paperbacks or hardcovers, only for ebooks. But offering your print book to be pre-ordered on Amazon is still possible if you are using Ingram Spark for the print versions of your book. However, before making a decision whether or not you should publish your print versions on Ingram Spark and then sell it via Amazon instead of using KDP, please make sure you're watching my separate video on expanded distribution, because which print-on-demand service you're using, whether that's Ingram Spark or Amazon's KDP, will greatly affect the amount of royalties you will receive. So I will make sure to link to that separate video below in the description for you, so you can determine for yourself what would be more important to you, being able to offer your print book as a pre-order or being able to receive higher royalties long term. So now that we have a greater understanding of what pre-orders are, let's look at two myths that I see over and over again and whether or not they are true. Myth number one is that pre-orders create demand for my children's book. Now, the idea here is that because our book becomes available to be ordered before it is even published, that people will find our book and will go ahead and place their order early. However, something that most don't realize is that this holds only true if you, the author, already have a following. That is, if you are a Dean Koontz fan and you find out that his newest book is available for pre-order, you'll go ahead and place that pre-order. So pre-orders here work really well, but that's not because of the pre-order option itself. Rather, pre-orders work well here because I'm already a Dean Koontz fan. Because if I were to see a pre-order option for a book by an unknown author, it's very unlikely for me to be willing to wait for that book to be published. What would be more likely here is that I would go ahead and try to find a similar book that is already available. So the pre-order option doesn't create demand. Instead, it caters to demand that is already there. Myth number two is that pre-orders will help make my children's book become a bestseller. Here the belief is that all the sales that are being made during the entire pre-order period would count toward my sales ranking on the day my book is being released, therefore helping you become a bestseller. So let's say your pre-order period is 3 months, and let's say that during those 3 months you receive 50 pre-orders. So the belief is that the sale of those 50 books would count toward your sales ranking on your release date, which essentially would create an incredible boost on that first day, right? Well, this idea of sales accumulation is not true. That is not how pre-orders work and count, even though that's sadly still how some publishing services say it works, telling their clients that they should offer their books for pre-orders so that they can reach bestseller status on the day the book is being published. The reality is that this is not how pre-orders work in terms of your sales ranking. Pre-orders count toward our ranking on the day the pre-order has been placed. So the sales made during our pre-order period don't contribute to the ranking of our children's book on the day our book is being released. But if pre-orders don't create demand and don't count toward our sales ranking on our launch day, why then might pre-orders still be worth considering? So let's look at 5 advantages of offering this option. Number 1, the obvious advantage would be that prospective readers are able to place an order for our children's book in advance, right? Number 2, the main advantage in my mind is that when setting your book up for pre-order, Amazon will create a sales page for it, which in turn provides us with an actual Amazon link that we would otherwise not have until the publishing day of a book that is not available for pre-order. And this store link will not change after the book is released. It will remain the same, meaning we can already use this link, which in turn leads us to advantage number 3, which is because we already have a link, we can start promoting our book even before it is released. So whether that's media, influencers, or book reviewers you may plan to approach during your early marketing efforts, you will have an actual Amazon link you can send people to and share. Advantage number 4, as I already mentioned earlier, pre-order sales contribute toward our sales ranking on the day the order has been placed. So this means if you have a strong marketing strategy that also covers your pre-launch period, then this might be a way to already rank with your children's book each day you're making a pre-order sale, even before it is published. And number 5, the final advantage I wanted to mention and share here is that if this is your very first book, having this pre-order page on Amazon would allow us to complete our author profile over on Author Central, which again is something that wouldn't be available to us until the actual publishing day of a book that is not available for pre-order. But let's look at some of the disadvantages of offering our children's book for pre-orders as well. The first disadvantage is something that depends entirely on you, your own circumstances, as well as your own marketing efforts you are planning to put towards your children's book. Because if we are using this pre-order period to actively promote and share our beautiful children's book, then setting up a pre-order option can be a great option. However, if we simply set our book up for pre-orders and then don't actively and continuously drive traffic to it, then this option can actually end up hurting our book in the long run. And here's why. The way Amazon's algorithm works is that if Amazon sees that your book is performing well, meaning it has a steady number of sales, then it will continue to put your book in front of future potential buyers. And that's because Amazon's #1 goal is to make sales, right? So if it sees your book is selling well, it thinks that by putting it in front of even more people, it will sell even more. So it's almost like success begets success, right? But unfortunately, this works the other way around as well, meaning if we set up our book for pre-order, but then don't drive any traffic to it during that time, Amazon's algorithm will pick up on that. Because generally, when a book is newly published, that's when its performance usually shines. That's when the author creates a lot of buzz, bringing lots of people its way. But when this initial rush doesn't happen, Amazon simply thinks people are not interested in this particular book, and so it won't put it in front of other potential buyers. So that's why when deciding to offer a pre-order option, it's really important that we have an actual marketing plan in place to ensure we are driving traffic to our book's sales page throughout this entire time. The second disadvantage is that before committing to offering a pre-order option, we will want to make sure we are familiar with the different rules. I will go ahead and add the link to KDP's pre-order rules in the description below, but these are essentially the 5 main rules you will want to pay attention to. Rule number 1 is something I already mentioned, and that's that we can set up our book for pre-order up to 1 year in advance. Rule number 2, you will have until 72 hours before your release date to upload your book files. If you don't submit anything before those 72 hours before your set release date, all your pre-orders will be canceled and you won't be able to set up a pre-order for any ebook for 1 entire year. Rule number 3 is that your submitted manuscript and book details will be locked for editing 72 hours before your set release date, meaning you won't be able to make any changes prior to the publication during those 72 hours. So if you need to make changes, be sure to do so before then. Rule number 4 is that you can always decide to publish your book early before your set release date. However, when there is a delay with your release or you have to cancel your pre-orders altogether, rule number 5 applies. You can delay your release date up to 30 days once without any penalties. But if you delay a second time or cancel it altogether, you won't be able to set up a new pre-order for any future book for an entire year. And that's simply to ensure and maintain a positive customer experience over on Amazon. So looking at the advantages and disadvantages, what would my recommendations be? Well, number 1, generally I would say that pre-orders are a really great option when you already have a following and you know that your followers are interested in purchasing your beautiful children's book. That way you will have that initial constant stream of traffic coming your book's way during the entire pre-order period. Second, alternatively, if you don't have a following as of yet, but you have a great marketing plan and launch strategy in place, then pre-orders may still be a great option as well. And again, we will want a marketing strategy to ensure we have this initial constant stream of traffic coming our book's way during that pre-order period. What we don't want is no activity in terms of sales during that time. Third, generally, I would say don't do it for your first book. And that's simply because most of the time you won't have a following as of yet prior to your first book, right? And because it requires so much more coordination and preparation, it's simply easier and less complex to launch without a pre-order option, especially for your very first book. And lastly, number 4, if you do end up choosing to set up a pre-order option, then make sure it's not unnecessarily long. Even though we can set it up for an entire year prior to the actual launch, I wouldn't recommend this unless, again, you already have a humongous following where your followers buy pretty much anything you create. A month or 2, I would say, should be your absolute max because, again, you will want to make sure you drive consistent traffic to your book sales page during that time. And doing so for such a long amount of time is very exhausting. So weeks rather than months would be my recommendation here. Now, if you should decide to set up a pre-order option, where would you do so? Here I wanted to take a quick look at KDP as well as Ingram Spark. Setting up your ebook for pre-order on KDP is very easy to do, and we would do so simply during the regular setup of your ebook. Now remember that KDP currently only allows for pre-orders of our ebooks. So once you've logged into KDP and have selected your book from your bookshelf, within the Kindle ebook details section, scroll all the way down until you get to the pre-order section at the bottom of the page. That's at least where it is right now, but be aware that Amazon likes to change its interface often. So once you're there, select the Make My Kindle ebook available for pre-order and then enter your release date. Make sure you hit the Save and Continue button once you are done. Now, the release date would be the date your book is being published, where your pre-ordered book would be sent out to everyone that has pre-ordered your book. It would mark the end of your pre-order period. Your book would become available for pre-order as soon as you complete all the setup steps within KDP and hit the Submit button in the final step of the setup process. Setting up your book for pre-order on Ingram Spark is a bit more complex. I wanted to mention and include this option here as well because this would be the way to go if you wanted your print versions of your book to be made available for pre-order. And again, that's because KDP as of right now only allows pre-orders for ebooks. But before you decide to go this route, please remember the very important side note I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So be sure to weigh the pros and cons when making that decision whether to publish your book via KDP or Ingram Spark. That being said, Ingram Spark distinguishes between two separate dates you have to enter during the book setup. The first is the publication date. This date represents your children's book's birthday, when it becomes officially available for the public to buy. And the second date is the on sale date. To retailers, this means that they are not allowed to sell your book before this date. For Ingram, this means 10 business days before the on sale date, any pre-orders that have accumulated will start printing and shipping. We will want to make sure that our publication date and our on sale date are always the same. So for example, if your publication date is January 1st, then your on sale date should also be January 1st. When you have completed and set up your book and it has been reviewed and approved by Ingram Spark, the last step for you to take is to enable distribution. If your publication date and on sale date are in the future, then the pre-order page will automatically be created on the retailer's websites such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble. On the day of your publication and on sale date, that pre-order button will automatically turn into a regular buy button, and that will mark the end of the pre-order period. And just like on KDP, Ingram Spark lets us set our publication date and on sales date up to 365 days in advance. Again, please watch my other video on expanded distribution to help you decide whether or not you should publish the paperback version exclusively via Ingram Spark instead of KDP. So many aspiring authors believe that using the pre-order option is an easy way to garner automatic interest. I hope that after having watched this video, you now know what to realistically expect, and that using this option may actually turn out to require even more work and time than you had originally anticipated. If you've been looking for a step-by-step launch strategy for your beautiful children's book, be sure to check out my 30-day launch mastery that will guide you through the entire launching process, and I've added the link to the description below. I hope you found this video really helpful. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. It really encourages me to keep making free videos for you just like this one. Here's to the successful launch of your very own children's book. Bye!